I literally was famous before I knew my own name.
His roles defined the 80s. Goonies.
This was my dream, my wish.
Stand By Me.
You call my dad a loony again, and I'll kill you.
License to Drive.
The only difference between you and that greaseball is that he has a license and you don't.
Films that propelled him into the spotlight for his entire youth. But being famous so young, he says, caused serious damage to him and his friends.
Do you feel like you missed out on a normal childhood?
What childhood? I don't know what that means.
A lost childhood and a loss of innocence. He blames the adults, not just those looking to profit from charming children, but also some with far more sinister motives.
I can tell you that the #1 problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
The casting couch even applies to children.
Oh yeah. Not in the same way. It's all done under the radar.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh yeah. I was surrounded by them when I was 14 years old. Surrounded. Literally. Didn't even know it. It wasn't until I was old enough to realize what they were and what they wanted and what they were about and the types of people that were surrounding me till I went, oh my God, they were everywhere like vultures.
Vultures who Feldman says abused him and his best friend, the late child actor Corey Haim, his co-star in The Lost Boys.
Well, what happens if my mom is dating the head vampire?
Feldman says the trauma of that pedophilia contributed to Haim's death.
There's one person to blame in the death of Corey Haim, and that person happens to be a Hollywood mogul. And that person needs to be exposed, but unfortunately I can't be the one to do it. But the person that knows who did it and knows who he is watching right now, I guarantee you. Yeah.
Intriguing.
Yeah. There was a circle of older men that surrounded themselves around this group of kids. And they all had either their own power or connections to great power in the entertainment industry.
Feldman won't name names. And he admits his friend had a struggle with addiction, which he says was a mechanism to cope with his demons.
It was a symptom.
It was a symptom, correct.
Are we in it?
In 2008, the two Coreys confronted each other on their reality show about the dark past they shared.
You let me get around in my life, man, raped, so to speak, when I was about 14 and a half, and I'm saying this right now. What'd you do, man, when you saw that going down when I was 14 to me? What'd you do? You knew about it.
You want to talk about the truth? Okay, well then let's talk about the truth. I was being molested at the same time by somebody else. What'd you do?
We saw this with the Franklin cover-up in America. It's a famous example of this. John DeCamp uncovered a banking fraud involving a guy called Lawrence King, who was a major Republican. It turns out, as DeCamp got deeper and went beyond the financial fraud for which King was jailed, and found that King was running a pedophile ring in Nebraska and wider across America that was supplying children for sex to the major politicians in America.
Every victim witness who stepped forward in any way or even was a potential witness that somebody heard about has either been killed, put in jail under some theory or other, terrified or run out of the state, discredited. Every perpetrator, even the convicted ones, have been treated as conquering heroes. Obviously, the FBI was protecting something a lot more significant than a bunch of old pedophiles having improper relations with little boys.
A Yorkshire television documentary, which was supposed to go out on the Discovery Channel, was pulled at the very last minute, and all copies were told to be destroyed. Well, at least one wasn't, and you can see it on the internet.
Now this is Benassi, a kid named Paul Benassi writing this, and this is directly word for word from his diary. Me and Nicholas, a boy who was about 12 or 13, were driven to an area that had big trees. There was a cage with a boy in it who was not wearing anything. Nicholas and I were given these Tarzan things to put around us, and they told me to the boy and stuff.
Freaky kid. They spooky to film that. And that was from the kid too.
We did this stuff to the boy for about 30 minutes or an hour when a man came in and grabbed the boy and started f***ing him. The boy screamed and stuff, and the man was forcing his into the boy all the way. The boy was bleeding from his rectum.
Shot him. What? Shot him. Shot him in the head.
They then forced me to the dead boy.
What did the medical do
One said the men with the hoods would take care of the body for them. Now understand that I didn't know that the thing was Bohemian Grove back then, nor did the kid when he was writing it. All he knew was he was taken to this place.
It's not that pedophilia and Satanism is happening, but the scale of it and how fundamental it is to those who are running the world is absolutely staggering.
It is so rampant, it's unbelievable. Henry Kissinger is a famous pedophile, as is Gordon Brown and the Bushes, and I could go on and on. There's millions of them.
I'm not kidding you. People think this is extreme. The British government is run by people who are in fear of exposure from some of this stuff.
There's obviously a massive kind of library somewhere filled of videos of old politicians and people in power, you know, using some of these slaves. These people are needed to control the whole system.
The cement that holds the establishment together is pedophilia and Satanism.
Some of these politicians, they come into it, they probably think that they really want to change things for the better, but then they just find out that it's filled with all this blackmail.
This is going on all over the world every day.
It's even in sports and entertainment.